Hi guys and welcome to my latest review. Now what I have here today, I guess it doesn't need much introduction because it's well-known JDS Labs Atom headphone amp. And it's been around quite some time now. It's famous for measuring very clean and great, and it's supposed to be one of the best buy budget amps on the market currently. And I was curious to try it out for some time now, but I always postponed this purchase. Now, thanks to one of our viewers and my fellow countrymen, I got this one on a loan, so thanks for that. First things, let's start with the build quality and some features. There's no beating around this, it's completely made out of plastic and it's kinda cheap and filmy feeling plastic. It doesn't cause any problems in functionality and anything like that, but compared to basically everything else on the market these days, just if we look to all of these devices currently around it, Schiit, Magni 3, Fiio K5 Pro, topping, EarMen, they're all made of aluminum. They all feel sturdier, heavier and more premium than Atom here. But okay, for me that's not a huge problem, especially if it sounds good, because in the end we buy these devices for their good sound and not for premium feel when you take them in your hand, right? So let's talk about connectivity right now. And here on the back we can see two pairs of RCA connectors. One is of course line input, so you can connect your DAC, and the other one is actually line output. It's just pass through, so you can connect both your headphone amp and something else like integrated amp or active speakers without having to worry about some sort of adapters and things like that. I always like when they put line outputs pass-through connection in headphone amps. That's really great. Beside that, you can see here there is actually second input. It's 3.5 millimeters stereo jack. So basically you can connect two sources to Atom amp here, which adds to functionality actually, and that's quite great. So in the front there is a switch to choose which input you are using, and next to it there is a gain switch. If it's not pressed, it's low gain, pressed, high gain. This little guy has a lot of power, so I guess you will not have any problem no matter what headphones you're using. Volume knob doubles as a power switch, so there is a click first and then you use it as a volume knob. And of course, headphone output 6.35 millimeters jack. Now we're done with that, let's move to the sound quality. So what I did here is connect it to topping E30 DAC. And first of all, when I started listening to Atom, I can say I was really pleased with its sound quality. First of all, it's quite well balanced. There is no any region of frequency response that is taking your attention. For example, emphasis on bass or highs or things like that, some cheap trick to grab your attention. There isn't anything like that. It's quite neutral sounding and I like that. But neutral doesn't mean flat and boring, because it has quite enough power, it has quite enough kick and dynamics to it to sound lively and to sound rhythmic, and basically livelier and more energetic than most of the DAC amp combos on the market for similar price. So I switched through several genres of music and I never felt that Atom is losing its pace or it's coloring something excessively or giving its own sound signature. It feels like really nice, transparent, neutral type of sound presented in a nice, lively, dynamic way. And I liked it. I quite liked it. So with that said, the important thing, of course, is to compare it with some things of a similar price that you can get on the market and see how it fares against them. And first in line was recently reviewed Fiio K5 Pro here. And this is a DAC amp combo. So I basically compared it against this combo here, E30 plus Atom. So first thing that I noticed is, in my opinion, this stack sounds just a little bit livelier. It has a little bit more punch and zest to it than K5 Pro. Pro, on the other hand, maybe offers a little bit more texture in like higher mid-range vocals, slightly more texture. But it's also a little bit more flatter sounding, and it has a little bit warmer bass, like a little bit bolder and warmer, more padded bass region than this one. All in all, I preferred this stack a little bit. For my own taste and my preferences, I found it a little bit more exciting, a little bit more interesting to listen than this one, but it is in the same ballpark, and I can imagine some people liking this one for being a little bit more laid back and a little bit warmer in the bass notes. Okay, so the next comparison was actually between Atom and its nemesis, Schiit Magni 3. For both of these I used topping E30 as a source, I just switched amps, and what I noticed is basically that Magni 3 offers a little bit more presence. How can I explain this? For example, bass notes and vocals and any other instruments sound a little bit more realistic, a little bit more palpable and present in space. On Atom, everything sounds very nice, but everything is a little bit more dispersed and a little bit more hollow sounding, if I can explain it like that. Now, I didn't notice that when I was listening just Atom, but when I was comparing them, I started to notice that. For example, I would listen to Tom Waits, and you know he has like raspy vocal that has both chestiness and sharpness, raspiness to it. And I just felt that Magni 3 is doing a better job. I felt that his voice was both more present and also textured a little bit better. You can hear that huskiness and raspiness better. And same goes for anything else. If you would listen to bass notes, for example, great depth and impact on Atom, but a little bit more texture and a little bit more feeling like it's a real thing on Magni 3 here. Edges too. When, for example, there is a sudden pluck of string, the edge would sound a little bit bolder and a little bit more crisp through Magni 3 here. Now the differences are not big by any means, and for example, if I already owned Atom, I wouldn't worry about that. I wouldn't just sell it, lose some money and buy Magni 3. I probably wouldn't do that. But if I would to choose one of them right now to buy the new one, I would definitely go with Magni 3. To my ears, it sounds a little bit more detailed, a little bit more focused and present, and it's also built better. This is aluminum, brushed aluminum finish. It feels nicer and more premium for the same kind of price. So I liked Atom. If I tested it in isolation, I could recommend it quite easily because it's really good device. There is no way of saying that something is bad when it's not. It is really nice, really good sounding device, but I feel that Magni 3 is just a little bit better in comparison. So the last thing I compared this stack with was EarMen TR amp that I recently reviewed. It's $250 device, it's both DAC and amp, and it's one of the best that I've tested so far. And to my ears, TR amp here as a combo sounds a little crisper, a little bit more lively and transparent than this stack, or for that matter even than this stack. And if I think about having to connect these with some decent RCA set of cables, that basically puts this stack or this stack exactly at the same price point as TR amp here, and it's a tough choice. Everything sounds great, but for me I would probably go with TR amp here. And if you for some reason don't like small battery powered devices, you want like big separate stack so you can change DAC and amp separately in the future, I would probably go with E30 plus Magni 3 here. And as I mentioned, Atom is a really great device on its own. I quite liked it. I just didn't like it well enough to recommend it over Magni 3. And that's basically it. So I'm quite happy that I got to review this, to try it out, and because of that, big thanks to the person who sent it. It is a really good device, it's very good, but in my opinion it's just not good enough to recommend it over Magni 3 here. Because it has that slight feeling that sharp edges and texture are a little bit padded and a little bit distant and maybe not echoey. That's not really the word that I'm looking for, but yeah, something is a little bit more mellow and less defined and less present than this one. They're very close, but yeah. And of course, that's just my personal subjective opinion of this unit. You might not agree with that, that's perfectly fine. And for me, this is just another proof that something that measures quite well doesn't always translate into great sounding device. It's very good, but not great. So in the end, do I think this is a bad sounding device? No, I don't. I quite like it in isolation. If I heard it, if I bought just this one, I would be quite happy. It is upgrade from most of integrated amps that comes with DACs for this price range. For example, if you buy hifi Zen DAC or something like that, this is definitely a better amp. It has more power, more juice, more dynamics. It's just that I think it's not best in the class, and some amps for the same amount of money offers a little bit more. That's all. That's my opinion. So thank you for watching this, guys. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please click like and subscribe so you can help this channel grow and bring even more interesting reviews and comparisons. Also, visit my website where you can find all of these reviews in written form, plus scores. Thank you again for watching, and see you next time.